Today I thought I'd show you how to make one of my favourite desserts. And it's one of my favourites because it's very nostalgic to me. It takes me right back to when I was probably about 6 or 7 years old, when I was at primary school, and we had this for our dessert at school dinners. If you don't know what a school dinner sponge is, it's a very British dessert. It's a cake, so it is basically like a vanilla-y or yellow cake, like sponge cake, and it's got glacé icing on top, lots of sprinkles, and you have it with custard. If you want to make the cake, I'll leave a link to the full recipe in the description below so you can read along if you prefer doing that, and just all the measurements will be properly laid out there. But without further ado, I think it's time to have a look at the very few ingredients that are in this. It's very easy. You're gonna love it. Okay, so ingredients wise, this, as I said, is very, very simple. I've got some butter here. This recipe, as I said, is large, so it has 6 eggs in it. Yeah, so I've also got some vanilla here. I have got some gluten-free self-raising flour here, and then I've also got some caster sugar here. You could use this just white caster sugar, you could use golden caster sugar, or you could actually use granulated sugar. So those are all the ingredients you'll need. There is icing obviously to go on top, which I will talk through later, but that's a little way off now. So this is all you're gonna need. In terms of what I'm gonna make it with, I usually make it with my stand mixer because it's quite a lot. So if you've got one, that's cool. I don't fancy it today for some reason. I'm gonna try and get it all together with my electric hand mixer. I definitely suggest using something electric rather than by hand because it's a lot of mixture, but yeah. Okay, quickly before we get started, I thought I'd show you my tin. So as you can see, it takes up quite a lot of room, so you can tell it's quite a big tin. It's rectangular. I will leave the dimensions or a link to the tin that I use in the description below, because I can't remember exactly how big this is. Probably don't want to talk about tins all day. Let's get on with making this. Okay, so first things first, we're going to cream together our sugar and our butter. Right, so next I'm going to add my eggs and my vanilla. I'm going to add my eggs like one at a time and mix in between. And also, I forgot to say that the butter is softened butter. It's not hard butter, as you can probably imagine with cakes. Definitely don't do it with hard, and definitely don't do it when it's too melted. It's a hot day here today, so I didn't leave it out for too long. But yeah, you want it to just be that nice sort of softened so it's easy to handle. Okay, so that's all nicely mixed now. I'm gonna add in my self-raising flour, and I think I forgot in the ingredients to even tell you, I'm adding some xanthan gum as well. This, I would say, because I'm using self-raising flour that already has some xanthan gum in it, this is almost optional, to be honest. I like to use a little bit extra because I think it holds it all together a bit more. But if you don't have it, you'll be absolutely fine just using your flour. And what we're gonna do with this is we're gonna fold it in. So we're gonna use a spatula rather than the mixer because we wanna get lots of air into it. And yeah, I think that's all you need to know. And that's literally the cake done. So there you go, that's all done, that's all mixed. I even managed to get some on the worktop. Oh well, that can go straight back in. So now, very simply, we just need to spoon this or sort of pour it in to our tin that we've prepared with some non-stick baking paper, and then it will go into the oven to make a nice cake. Yeah. Okay, so this is ready to go into the oven now. Remember, if you've pegged down your baking paper to take the pegs off. So I have flattened it all out so it's nice and smooth, but I haven't been too aggressive with it because you don't want to lose the air that you folded into it. And now I've preheated my oven to 160 degrees C fan, which is 180 degrees C, which is 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And I'm going to pop this in the oven. It kind of does vary, but I say as a good timing, around 55 minutes, but it could be 50 minutes, it could be slightly less. Just keep checking on it. Not by opening the oven though, I must say that, not by opening it. Just have a peek through the oven and have a look at how much it's browning and stuff. So there you go. I told you that it was a really, really big cake, and it is. I've skewered the middle and it came out clean, so we know that's done. And actually, this did just go in for 45 minutes, so I'm thinking listen to me now, not the 55, it's the 45. It works fine, and we want it to be nice and tender. We don't want it to be like dry or anything. So I think that's perfect. So all I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna leave it to cool. I'll leave it to cool for a small while in here, because if you lifted it now, it would probably break, because it's still slightly cooking as it cools. And then kind of carefully lift it out. It's gonna be hard, lift it out onto a cooling rack so that it can completely cool. Once it's completely cooled, we can ice this thing, and the icing is so easy. It's just a glacé, so it's just your icing sugar and your water, maybe a little bit of vanilla if we want to. Okay, so the icing is very simple. All you need is some icing sugar, or powdered sugar I think it's called elsewhere, a little bit of the vanilla, and then the other ingredient is just water. And all I'm gonna do is very gradually, I'm gonna firstly add my vanilla, then I'm gradually gonna add just under a tablespoon of water at a time. You won't need as much as you think. It looks like a lot of sugar, but you just need to make sure you mix it in really well, and gradually it will become a really nice white glossy icing, which I'll show you when it's at about the right consistency, because once we've done that, we can just pour it all over and we can add some sprinkles. Oh yes. So there you go, really nice white shiny icing. You just need to really mix it really hard, and you'll get all the sort of little lumps of icing sugar out of it, and it will just look lovely and glossy. So yeah, you don't want it to be a super thin texture. I mean, it's up to you, but the thinner you make it, the more likely it will just all run off the cake. And when you make glacé icing a little bit too wet, it becomes very see-through, and a little bit see-through is fine, but you don't want it to be super see-through. So I'd say this is about right. And there you go. Now I just have to leave it to set before I cut it. I'm just gonna leave this to set right here, and then we shall cut it up. I absolutely love a school dinner sponge cake because you can have it as a dessert with custard, or you can just have it as cake. It's versatile and easy to make, as is my gluten-free blondies, which you can find the recipe to up here, and my coffee cake, which you can find the recipe to up here. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.